You mentioned investing.
Yeah.
This person who said one thing to you and that kind of like changed
the game for me.
Because again, why we met was because you were investing in real estate. Why did you go down the real estate investing route? And like, tell us about that.
I had no intention of actually getting a property. So again, like I said, I love learning. That's literally all my weekends, any spare time. I'm always reading a book. I don't even own a Netflix account. I'm reading a book.
Oh,
I'm always
good for you.
Yeah. I don't.
So you don't watch any of those Stylist shows?
I mean,
on Netflix?
I do. But I just naturally, I just love, I mean, obviously because I'm in film, I have to. Like, I'm aware of like the shows that are out there, but like a majority of my time, if you ask all my friends, like I'm on YouTube, listening to a podcast, or on Instagram, looking and trying to find something informative for me to learn from. So I was like, oh, like, let me learn about real estate. Like randomly, I'm like, let me learn about real estate. And Abby, who you work with, she was doing a program at the time.
It's just for viewers and listeners. Abby is a real estate agent on our team, and she connected us. So this is great. So,
so she had a program, and I was like, I'm going to take her program because I just wanted to learn more about like different ways that I can invest, right? And so she ended up taking the program, and she remember saying a comment. She was like, well, you can either treat this as like, you know, a hypothetical situation if you were to buy a property or this and that, or you could actually take this as a learning lesson and actually get a property and like, you know, take the skills and the education that you have and apply it to, you know, your first property. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. But I had no idea what I was
empowered by the idea?
I did. And I'll tell you this, it all goes back to the people that you surround yourself with. I remember, I mean, I'm still working in film, but when I would be on set, or even like when you're on social media and you would hear people talk about, it's so expensive, it's too expensive, it's impossible for a millennial or for anybody to buy a property. I'm not saying there's not challenges, but it's possible. You just have to educate yourself with, you know, the options that you have that can allow you to get a property. And so I was kind of tired of sitting around and like listening to all the negativity, and I really just wanted to learn. There has to be a way. Like it's never a no for me. Like I always have to figure it out.
No is a not yet.
No, it's not yet. We still got to, you're not going to tell me I'm never going to afford a property. I'm not going to listen to that. And so Abby really kind of exposed me to real estate and was teaching me the ins and outs and like different ways that I can, you know, whether it's co-signing, whether you're getting, you know, a loan from someone. And I never heard that before. Right, because I just thought I had to have. I didn't even know about pre-construction. Right. I didn't even know that there was like payment plans. I had no idea about that, and I was like, "Really?
So I can just pay it over the course of 4 or 5 years?
You know what I mean?
And I don't even need a mortgage? Yeah.
And I don't have to have the money up front right away. Like I don't have to have $100,000 sitting in my account like I thought I did, because I'm hearing people that probably don't even do their research or just hearing what they hear on the news and just talking about it without doing their homework. And I was like, wow, this is great. Yeah, let's actually put this to like use, and let me. I actually want to get involved. I want to get a property, and again, like I was always good at like saving and like, you know, investing and whatnot. So I had a decent amount of money in my account. I had $30,000 in my bank account at the time. I'm gonna be
thanks for sharing.
With you. I had $30,000 in my bank
just
account.
Just so people know. Though.
Yeah, no,
like, it's
I'll
not
be
like
straight up. Like
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, because you know I obviously needed more than $30,000, right? So it's not like I had it all to begin with. But I was saving from a very young age, and I didn't know what I was saving for.
But you found an opportunity that worked with the budget that you had at that time, which was pre-construction. I think it's so important to really hammer down the idea of like, this was a mindset thing, right? Like when life doesn't go your way, you just were like, no. Like there's so many people out there who unfortunately their circumstance, and I get it, has made them negative, and their experience has created what they are today. But there's some times where you just have to say, I'm not listening to this. That was your experience. It doesn't have to be my experience. Yeah. Right? And you were like, I'm going to figure this out. And you're right. All the rhetoric around that time was around millennials will never be able to afford anything.
You still hear it today.
And still to this day. And now we're going to hear all the things about Gen Z and how awful, you know. And it's like, you just have to get creative sometimes in life. And I think it's shown that like any challenge that you've had, from what I'm hearing, you've kind of been like, I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to figure out my way through this. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing with that. And I also think like just being a woman, I've purchased my own investment property as well without my husband. Like, I mean, he owns half of it technically, but like pre-construction as well. Yeah. But he had nothing to do with it. And similarly to buying the shoes, I can tell you, buying your own property feels a lot better than buying your own shoes. You know? So fuck the shoes, scrap that. Ladies, save for your first property, because that's how you're really gonna build true independence.
Yes.
Like that's true wealth, true independence, because I remember I was shaking signing that contract.
Oh God,
like,
me too.
I was scared shitless. This is a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 or 2 years before you did. And I was like, and I wish I'd done it at your age, in all honesty, but I didn't have the education. I didn't get educated. But I made up for that now, and I'm like, it's mine. Like, you know, like I signed it, it's my name on it. I'm the one who put the down payment down or the deposits down. It's not built yet, so that's the great news still. Like I still have time to keep saving for the rest of the down payment and for the mortgage. And so we're like figuring it out. And I think that's really important. Yeah. So buy property as soon as you can. Don't buy all the dumb shit. I know we're sitting here loving fashion, but like,
I know, because I do have a little one too, you know, designer. But you know, I'm very strategic. I will not buy anything that I cannot afford. Period. Like I was never the type to put something on my credit card that I couldn't afford. But again, it's because at a very young age,
with the exception of your schooling.
Of course, exactly. But that's an investment
in yourself,
in myself, and look where it's look where it's brought me, right? But going back to what you're saying, I had to learn how to do this because I told myself, like, there's no way I can listen to what everyone else is saying because I have no choice. My mom can't afford to get me a house. And so in my head, I'm like, you have to figure this out because there's no other choice. No one's going to help you in this situation. And I didn't want to live the life that my mom was living. As much as I appreciate and I love what she's doing, like sometimes I don't see my mom. I'm still at home right now, but sometimes I don't even see my mom because she's working
so hard.
around the clock. And I'm like, I don't want this to be me. Like I actually, you know, I want to be financially free. I don't want to have to be on like a hamster wheel 24/7. You know what I mean? Because eventually you just can't. Your body
and doing something you're passionate about, which is not cubicle work or necessarily work in a hospital. And like if that is your passion, then do that.
So be it. And again, like I respect nurses and whatnot, but I'm just saying like just the amount of hard work that my mom had to put in. It's like the least that I can do is like make something of myself, and that's how I took it.
That's how you're almost giving back to her.
100%, and she's so proud of me. So like me having that money in that bank account, I had to work for it. It wasn't like, oh, she has $30,000, whatever. It's like no. I had that mindset from so long.
Scratch and clawed for this $30,000.
Exactly, like working multiple jobs. You just ask anybody. It's like the amount of hours that I work is insane, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I didn't know it was going to be real estate because at the same time too, I was also learning how to invest in stocks. So I just knew that I had a whole bunch of money that I was saving, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it.
And you probably, you know, also when you invest in things, just like anything in life, sometimes you fail. Like investments don't always work out, but that doesn't mean the investment's bad. Maybe you made some poor decisions or you got some bad advice from people, but you're going to learn from it. And like, so, you know, playing with money that you're like, look, no one wants to lose $30,000. I'm not saying that, but you also know like, look, I built it once. I can do it again.
Do it again.
Right? So
that's the mentality that I had.